Hello Milky Friends, Milkstool here with you for another I Don't Heroes video. How are you? I hope you're well. It's been a very long time since we've spoken. I don't even remember when I've made the last video. I think it was Easter. I looked at my spreadsheet and I looked at the last pack that I did and it was for Easter. And then obviously a lot's happened between now and Easter because it's what, like 2 months on? We've got Jahra, we've got a new game mode, the one with the bricks and shit. Honestly, the reason why I haven't been making videos is because I just can't be bothered anymore. I mean, like, there's a lot of new stuff and there's a lot of new value analysis, but at some point you just want to play the game and just not analyze the fuck out of it. Case in point is that new labyrinth mode. I've seen everyone's analysis on it and, you know, how they do, what is it, bricks per power and shit like that. Honestly, just fucking play the game. That's where I got to. I thought about doing a video on how best to do labyrinth and strategies and shit like that, but I look at what you get from that mode, and you know, honestly, it's just not worth the effort. Just use Asmodel. He'll break those bricks. Just concentrate, and you get to where you get to. It's like Imp's Monopoly. Like, don't overanalyze the fuck out of it. There's like one thing to do, and that's about it. And the rest is just all luck. There is, as much as we like to think there's skill involved in this game, and yes, there is some skill. The reality is it's like 40% luck, 40% pay to win, 20% genuine skill, to be completely honest. And the 20% is like to do with just basically finding cheese in the PvE modes. Anyway, I digress. This week, what am I going to talk about? Let's just talk about a couple of things. Let's talk about the event for this week, because we're probably just here for the event. And then let's just talk about the game in general and what I'm focusing on, if you're interested, because, you know, some of you are actually crazy enough to watch my videos still, even though I don't make it that often. So this week's event is obviously the release of Transcendent Jarrah. I forget what her name is, but then also tied to that Jahra event is this Jahra's Invitation event. I think it's pretty neat. You could argue, oh, you know, they're being super generous now because if you do this, you know, you can get artifacts and things like that. And like, yeah, you can, but you still got to actually, no, you can't get the artifact. You still got to pay for it. I've realized to get the demon. No, you could have got the demon bell if you completed all this, but then to get anything more, you had to buy. You had to buy stuff basically. Yeah. So you would have got how many points? I forget now. I got 300 points. Oh, and so where are we? I'm a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be a little bit iffy because I'm kind of tired. I had my Pfizer shot 8 hours ago, my first one, and I'm super tired. But I'm like, I also wanted to make this video because I was kind of bored and I didn't really want to go to sleep. I gotta stay up for another like hour or two, otherwise my routine will be completely screwed. So, sorry, Jahra released. Yeah, I'm not going to go through how this works. Basically, I am because I'm talking through it. So you get all these cards, and the way to get cards is obviously you do like up to 300 orb summons to get 100 of these cards. And you know, should you do it? Well, if you do it, you know, you get 100, you get this demon bell. So why not? Right? Demon bell is pretty nice. And it's always it's like demon bell, one of those artifacts they don't give away like very easily. So if you manage to save up orbs, do like 300, get the 100 points, and just, you know, be happy. Is it 300? Yeah, you get one card. And then for all this other stuff, obtain 5-star Shadow Heroes. I mean, you can just orb into Shadow if you can't get 30. And then activate Jahra, 6-star, 5-star. So if you have never built Jahra before, you know, just orb into Shadow, get a couple of Jahra copies, and try and build her up to 10 stars, and you get even more cards, right? And I'm not going to tell you what to spend your cards on. I've obviously spent money to get more cards because I wanted to buy out the artifact chest as well as the demon bell. I didn't really need the demon bell because I already have 2 splendid ones, but you know, let's just go for the 3rd splendid one. I've got nothing else. But yeah, I was doing it mainly for this artifact chest. It was like if you do everything, I think it's only an extra how much you have to spend, like couple of bucks just to get this artifact chest, which I think is pretty generous. So anyway, that is the cards. That is the rewards you can get. I'm not going to do analysis here. I mean, if you get to the point where you're just sort of deciding, look, you should get artifacts first, and then if it comes down to deciding between food and copies, I would almost say get the food. Like, copies are kind of useless now, unless you're like building a very specific hero. Like, this chest, it only goes to Eloise, whereas obviously I think everyone's just trying to build Penny this week, so this chest is kind of useless. This dark, light and dark one, these heroes are all useless, except maybe Carry. The value of light and dark heroes after Transcendent Heroes came down have just diminished so much that they should make this. Light and dark used to be special. They're not special anymore. They're as good as non-light dark heroes. That's the reality, right? So, these should be the same. Light and dark should just be just another normal faction. Like, there should be nothing special about it. So then really you're kind of deciding between artifacts and the puppets. What I would say is you should probably get the 9-star puppet first before this puppet. But then you're like, should I get the 9-star puppet and the copy, or should I get a 10-star? Really depends. Like, from a value perspective, this is a bit of a rip-off, whereas this is much better value. I can do the math on it, but I won't. But effectively, 10-star is 2 9-stars plus a bit more, right? So the plus a bit more is not worth 10 cards. I can show you the math, but just trust me. This is not worth it compared to this. Like, it's almost better to get 2 of these if you can, and you can't, rather than just 1 of these. So that's my thoughts, right? This is much better value than that. But having said that, if you got 90, should you split it? Should you get that or 1 of these and 1 of these? It's up to you, right? If there's something in here that you need to build heroes, like a copy that you're missing, go for it. Yeah, so that's the star store. So then this one, Transcendent Fight. Funny thing about this is you only need to fight. If there's someone on your server that has all 3 of these heroes or 2 of these heroes or in any combination. All you need to do is fight them. You don't actually have to have these heroes in your lineup. I didn't realize that, right? So this is the only reward, and the chest isn't even that good. This is the only reward that you probably can't get unless you build Starwing Jarrah. But for all these other rewards, all you had to do is find someone on the server with those 2 heroes in the lineup and fight them, even if they're on your friends list, right? So all I did was I fought 7-Up. Where is he? This guy. This guy fucking has all the Transcendent heroes. So I clicked this button, fought him, just absolutely lost. And you know what? I got all those free rewards. So thank you, 7-Up. I'm pretty sure he's the only person that has like all the Transcendent heroes on our server. So good on him. Good on him. He's also killing it in Void Vortex. Thank you for spending all that money to make us look good and giving us rewards. So then we got the star package. Let's do the very quick math on this. But if you sort of just want to, if you're just here for this bit, don't buy the first one, buy the second one, even though the second one is twice as much. So the math is package 1, 5,000 gems, 10 cores, 100 feathers. It's about 25,000 gems worth of value divided by $50. 505 gems per dollar spent, which, if you look at my spreadsheet and what I've been tracking historically, those special packs, the value that we're looking for, I know it says 400 here, but that's old. For the past few Easter package, Spring package, Crystal package, those last few packages, they've been averaging like 500 and up, right? So at 500 and what? Not 5 this week. I would say this is a bit of a disappointment, right? So be careful, because when you look at the next one, you're like, fuck, this one's worth just 50% more than the first one. Yeah, that's right. So if you can stretch it to $100, like if you're going to buy a package, you might as well go all out, right? Because the reality is, this is a pay-to-win game, right? So if you're going to spend, fucking spend big. So I would buy package 2, simply because you get more bang for buck. You get 20 cores and 500,000 stellar shards. And we can actually now value stellar shards, because the formula is basically you get 500 stellar shards. You need to spend like 30 cores. Why 30 cores? Because every 15 cores gives you one of these things, Transcending Spheres, which can then either convert to 250 purple cots or 250,000 stellar shards. So that's how the math works. 30 cores times 1,500 gems per core, because that's how much it costs at the marketplace. That's the math, right? So 78,875, 789 gems per dollar spent. This pack is the one that's value for money. Yeah. And so that's that's the event for this week. I'm not going to really talk about Glory Challenge, although I will say a couple of things. Like, there's no point in rushing these. You're going to build them when you build them. I mean, it's nice to get the 9-star, but by that same token, you know, I'm not going to go out of my way to build heroes I'm never going to use just to get these 9-star puppets. They will come. They will come. Similarly, this one will come. The armor stuff was easy to do, relatively easy to do because I'm just converting resonance armor. I'm actually out of armor bits. I'm actually short on armor now because I've given all my 9 heroes or 10 heroes. I have 10 heroes, 10 suits, resonance suits. 9 resonance suits. I tell a filthy lie because you only can do 3. So you're gonna get these eventually. This one you're gonna get eventually. Again, I wouldn't rush this just to get more pink. Especially, I found myself rushing this event. Sorry, this particular glory challenge, and just upgrading heroes that I was never gonna use just to, all in order, just to get this dust. I'm like, hang on, I'm wasting dust on heroes I'm never gonna use. That's just silly. Just wait until you're gonna, like, if you look at the reward at the end, I mean, like, this epic glory chest, these heroes are kind of old. They're all kind of useless. They're not going to update it. So I would almost say, like, just ignore this one. Like, the only nice thing about, like, they should just give you 200,000 pink dust and not this chest. That chest is useless. So whenever you do that, just, you know, do it in your own time. And then this last one, I wouldn't even bother with this last one. This last one, this chest, they fucked up. They shouldn't have given this as a reward. Like, that's useless. I just wouldn't go out of my way to basically finish that. Then this one done. It was easy because I had all the artifacts, so you just disassemble and reassemble it. As those of you with these artifacts know, you don't actually have to do it from scratch. Just disassemble, reassemble, and then you meet this challenge. This particular event, I think this one was they counted your past achievements, and they just give you more monster bits. Up to this point, and then they give you diamonds. The diamonds were nice, but the extra monster bits, I'm like, I've already got 5 monsters, kind of useless. If you've got less than 5 monsters and you're on 3, I mean, the rewards are pretty nice. Then you can build your 4th and 5th for interdimensional arena and like other modes, and just play around with monsters. But that's really it. This one I've realized is going to take forever to get. You'll get it when you get it. And then this one I've realized, you got to pay. You gotta basically fucking pay to get up there. To get from here to here to here. Well, no. To get beyond level 101, you basically gotta pay until some event where you can actually win this. I know the labyrinth, you can get these as rewards. This red crystal and this yellowy one. But I guess the thing is I think you only have to pay once, because once you pay once, you're gonna get to level, 140 or whatever it is, and then above 140. And and I need to double check. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think once you've got paid and you go beyond, you get enough to do like this side. Could be wrong. Probably am wrong, but I'm not going to pay just to get beyond my star summon's beyond 100 right now. I just don't see the value in it. So where am I in the game? It's interesting, right? So a couple of things have happened in the game. One, I have joined a new guild, and there was a giant shit show with my old guild. So I'm now in free-to-play Slayers, and we came... What did we come? We came... Obviously, we can't beat these guys, but I think we came like top 8 last time. So if I look at the schedule, no, it hasn't started. Where do I tell where we've come? Reward, battle log, defensive... We came top 8. Right. And I would argue, and since the second season, third season now, going into it, I know there have been even more mergers, right? The reality is no one can beat these guys, right? They've just been just way above everyone else. And if the devs are smart about it and they wanted the whales to spend more, you would not allow, you basically disallow, you cap how much power guild can have, right? That's what you would do. If you were the developers, you know, if you want to make more money from this game, it comes from whales. The whales probably generate 80% of the income, and they make up 20% of the active players, right? So how do you get whales to spend more? You basically split them up into groups so then they can't be together, right? That's why monopolies are bad. Economics 101. Competition is good because competition drives people to spend more, especially whales. So they should have just said, look, you can't have this much power, or you can't have this many VIP 13s in this guild, right? Split them up. They're going to egg each other on, and they're going to spend a fuck ton, right? But as it stands, like, if you're not on a mega project, or if you're not in Zodiac, why the fuck bother spending? Like, why the fuck would you bother on PvP? At all. Literally at all. And that's where I got to in my mind, because when I look at the rewards, I'm like, these rewards, they're not that great, right? this like avatar frame, like it's nice, but my Black Friday flame just shits on that, right? So it's much better than that. These guild coins are useless. And this skin voucher to get what this skin, which I mean, really, really. So that's the reward. Like, I mean, apart from the bragging rights, like I literally don't know anyone in Omega except GDP, right? I don't like. And that's because, and he's the one that makes YouTube videos, right? Outside of this thing, right? Outside of Omega Project, and us clicking into it and find specific name of the players, no one knows who the fuck you are. Like you might like internally feel good for being on top, but you paid to get there, and you sort of stacked. Like there's no achievement, right? There's no sense of like, ooh, we cunningly outmaneuvered them, did the right amount of battles, did the right strategy. There is no, there's it's just like, So that's why I'm not really bothering with Ace. I know I sound like a hypocrite because I changed guilds to try and win an Ace, but the reality is I am not going to go out of my way. Because if you look at my lineup right now, right? My lineup, it's 11 million power Crystal Crown League. I could tomorrow restack it, so then I'm up like 15, 16, 17, 18 million. Because if you look at this, I've got 1.8 million Stellar Shards that I haven't deployed. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck, Milster? You got 1.8 million Stellar Shards, right? You can, you could get a couple of these V4. You can, restack all these, get a couple of V3s, build your PvP power up. And, you could use these and you could get more like Stellar Shards. But I'm like, why? What do I get at the end of it, right? Why would I focus on PvP right now, I guess is the question. If you're sort of trying to egg me on, right? Or similarly, you're like, oh, Milkstool, I see you have these Transcending Spheres, you haven't converted them. Why don't you get it to convert that? Then you got 4 million, you're only a million off of Jahra. Like, Jahra is great and all, and she'll absolutely help my PvP, but why? What's the benefit of winning in PvP? Honestly, right? What do you get from killing in PvP? Because in Arena, right? Dominating in... Where will PvP help me? Crystal Crown League, Trial of the Champion, maybe free team up Arena, and if you do well in those, you get more Prophet Orbs, right? Right? Prophet Orbs are good because, good source of food, and they give you it's a backdoor into a new hero that you might want to get. But that's basically it, It's just more food and the potential to get more copies of a new hero that gets released that's really good that you don't really have the scrolls for, right? So if that's the end game, right, I'm kind of like, I'm not that compelled. Why am I not compelled? Because I've got all these heroes already, and only like a couple of them are useful, right? There'll always be a new hero that will replace an older hero. So the chase for food to build new heroes, that's why I'm not building Jahra, right? If I build Jahra now, if she's not void enabled, she's completely useless, right? That's where we're at in the game. If you don't have the Stellar Shards to enable your heroes to V4 or V3, because that's the reality of where we are now. Heroes have to be enabled. Even the old ones have to be enabled to be any good. An old enabled hero is much better than a new hero that's unenabled or non-enabled. So what do I mean by that, right? So for example, a V4 Rogan is much more useful than a Jahra right now, a Transcendent Jarrah. That's where we're at in the game. You might disagree, but that's the harsh reality of it all. And that's why for me, long-term player, I'm never going to win in PvP because I'm never going to spend as much cash as those whales, right? So if I can't win, if I can't be on top, why should I spend? What's the point, right? I know I got to keep up. I spend every now and then, right? If I drive enough Uber, I'll get the packs. But the reality is I'm no longer going to go out of my way to spend to win in PvP. Where I will spend and invest my resources is, and this is my focus of the game, is to win in Void Vortex, because now we can cheese our way to the top. I only need 5 more swords, the Magic Stone swords, and then I think I can cheese my way to the top to Defile 1, because I think correct me if I'm wrong, so I think this guy cheesed his way to the top. right? Or these two people cheese their way to the top. So it's a race. The race is now on to get as many magic stone swords as possible, right? I think that's infinitely possible. So you no longer need like a bunch of V4 enabled heroes. I mean, you do. That helps, right? But actually, does it help? I don't actually know. I've just been told by our guild leader, that Melks do this old strategy of 2 Tixes, 2 Rogans, Halora, Ignis, or whatever, and 2 Splendid Dildos, 2 Splendid Demon Bells. Don't worry about it, right? Someone's worked out how to cheese the way all the way to the top of Defire 1 using a Splendid Magic Stone Sword and I think 2 glittery Magic Stone Swords, right? So that's like 8 that you need. And I'm only on 3, so I need 5 more, or 4 or 5 more. 5 more. If that's the case, if that's the end game for that's great, right? That's what I'm gonna shoot for. And why is that important? Stellar Shards. This is like I'm just doing this literally just to get more Stellar Shards. That's all I give a shit about, right? Stellar Shards in the long run. Stellar Shards are the new artifacts. They're kind of giving artifacts away now, left, right, and center. But Stellar Shards, which is infinitely more easier to get, I guess, for a lot more people, that's what you should be focusing on. Stellar Shards is the new endgame, right? Because once I get enough Stellar Shards to basically void enable for all my 6 primary heroes, then we're good. Then I can turn my attention to getting Cause of the Transcendence COTS to get basically the new Transcendent hero, or just get the old ones I don't have. Because I think the old ones, they're going to be good forever, right? They're introducing it so slow. Like all of a sudden, Jahra with Asmodel, Jahra makes Asmodel look good, right? So all the endgame teams are now 4 Transcendent heroes and 2 Rogans, right? So you need 4 Transcendent heroes, and they all need to be void enabled, right? They can't just be vanilla E5 versions. I cannot emphasize enough. This game is now about Stellar Shards. Fuck PvP. The rewards for it are just like abysmal, relatively speaking. So just do well in Void Vortex as best you can. And do well in Void Arc. There's no secret to Void Arc. I've done a video on what it takes to win here, right? It's just a bunch of Void-enabled heroes. 15 V1s, then 15 V2s, and 15 V3s. Because, you want the bonus buff from Void 1 enabled, Void 2 enabled, Void 3 enabled heroes, right? And that's why I'm spreading out my Stellar Shards across 15 heroes, right? Fuck getting 2, 3, 4 E4 heroes. I'd much rather have 15 E1 heroes, because that gets me much further along on Void Arc than anything else. And why is Void Arc important, you might ask? Again, I emphasize, the reason why it's important is because it's the only way to get these damn crystals. And these damn crystals are important because, these star spawns all of a sudden are actually quite important at a higher level, right? When you get them high enough. And the crystals are only a way to get them to level 100. So once you've upgraded enough of these little critters, because you're going to actually eventually come to a constraint where you have to pay to get beyond level 100. And that is what it is, right? But getting them to 100 is enough of a I guess, PvE challenge, or that will assist you in long-term PvE, that I would say just focus on the Arc as your well, I'm focusing on as my next thing, right? I always come in the top 300. Now I'm going to try and push to get into the top 100 because I think I can get there. Because another guy in my guild can get there, I can get there, and I know I have way more. Well, I've line ball as much stuff as this individual, right? So, anyway, that's my thoughts on where the game are and what I'm focusing on. Yeah, like I said, I think this game is in its death throes. All this stuff that they're giving away, you might think, ooh, aren't they generous? Yeah, they're generous, but only because, it's where they're at in the game. Previously, they didn't have to be generous because people were willing to spend. But now they're giving more stuff away. It's because the game's dying, right? These guys didn't just fucking grow a conscience. That's the reality. So, if you think they grew a conscience, I find that hard to believe. Wards are only going to get better over time. So you don't actually even need to necessarily spend now, right? But then the $1 million question remains, right? If you don't spend now and, Melkshire is saying, yeah, I can spend later. If you spend later, the risk is no one's going to fucking play this game anymore. This game is dying. I know it's dying because guess what? Even though they only introduced, Void a while ago, there are already people. I thought it was going to take at least a good year for people to get to like Realms Gate 100, but people have already cheesed their way to the top, right? I thought it was going to take a year or 2 years for people to get to like fucking Defiler 1, but there's already someone on Defiler 1, and there's already now there's a strategy basically to get there without having to get V4 everything. Splendid everything. Like, these guys got to the top because they've got like 8 fucking magic stone swords and they're cheesing their way to the top, right? So we're already at endgame for this game. So unless they introduce even more shit to get these people to spend, because those people at the top on Vortex and all these other things, right? They're the same people that are in Omega that stack that guild. So there's nothing in it for them. There's nothing, and because they can't fight each other, right? They're not fighting each other. They're not in different guilds. The compulsion to spend goes away. And once you stop spending, it's kind of like, why do I bother with this game at all, right? Why don't I just spend on another game, right? So they kind of fucked themselves over when they allowed everyone to be in the one guild. And when they made it kind of like with Inosuke cheese to be able to get to like very high level of void so very quickly, right? That's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you're all safe. And if you have a chance to get the vaccine, I encourage you to do so, because it's just the right thing to do. Nothing against you anti-vaxxers, but if you're not an anti-vaxxer, get it, and then you don't have to worry about whether someone has a vaccine or not. At least you'll be safe. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. That was a long video. Missed you all dearly. Stay safe.